want is just to rest and some cookies and water, and I will be so happy. My name is Joseph, your host for Better.
My name is Jane. I'm Joseph's co-host. My dream is to be rich, fabulously rich, right now.
Each one of these episodes will cover 4 topics. We take what the traditional formula is, how everybody else is doing it, and if there's one way to do it better, then that's the stuff that we want to cover.
It's really, really interesting, really informative.
All right, let's get to it. There's so many articles that say to be promoted, be indispensable. My advice is the exact opposite. Make yourself dispensable as soon as you can, as fast as you can, ASAP. Have you seen the Lego movie? Yeah, the Lego movie, there's that master builder.
I am a master builder!
I call that the engine maker. You can create the engine that can run on its own and generate value. If you make yourself dispensable, you become a master builder. You create things. Figure out what does it take to do your job, do it better than anybody else, make yourself dispensable, figure out a way to do it better, faster, more efficient, hire somebody else that's really capable, replace yourself, and then now you just essentially promote yourself. One of our junior interns is processing our cases, and it's like, you guys are still using the typewriter to type checks. That is quite old-fashioned. I understand why it's needed, but maybe there's a better way. Created the better way that you could directly print from the computer to the printer, and now that saves like hundreds of thousands of hours in the next 5-10 years. They got promoted and we hired them full-time. That junior intern.
There you go.
Do you struggle with comparing yourself to other people's achievements?
Totally. As I was thinking about this a little bit before, like the whole comparison's the thief of joy. We all know that. But it's tough because then you kind of don't recognize when you have made an achievement or you've grown. You know, it almost doesn't even matter because maybe you are making more money and 5 years ago that would have been a dream. But now it's just happened so steadily and so slowly that the ability to live this lifestyle or the ability to purchase these things, it doesn't feel special anymore.
I think there's 2 ways to overcome this problem of comparing to others and also to find contentment. One is how to achieve a whole bunch of stuff so you feel pretty happy about yourself, right? So that's one way to do it. And the second is much more about the mindset and the misconceptions about contentment. When we compare ourselves to others, oftentimes it's comparing where they are now and all the things that they have or they have achieved. But if you recognize all your past achievements that you've forgotten about and then tap into those, resurrect it in a sense, then suddenly you have a lot of things to add. I do this for a lot of my clients' children. Maybe they're in college, maybe they're in high school. They are trying to be the best version of themselves to apply for college, to apply for internships, and to apply for jobs and do startups to get funding and all. So they need to be very presentable. Yeah. So it's impossible to tell them, well, just be better, right? Just go and do all these amazing things. That's not going to cut it, right? So really understanding what an individual's past holds, there's a lot of treasure there. Maybe 10 years ago, in elementary school and junior high and high school, they were part of a sports team. But now it's been years, they're not part of it anymore. But because they were part of that sports team years ago, maybe they have that athletic mentality. Maybe you play a lot of D&D and you're a dungeon master.
A shadow grows on the wall behind you, swallowing you in darkness. It is almost here. An army of troglodytes charge into the chamber.
Because you're such a great storyteller, maybe you could transition that to do public speaking in a way. And you could be a master storyteller. Tapping into your past, spend a few years resurrecting all these things that's from your past that you can easily tap into, that's really hard for somebody else. And now you have something that you can be proud of.
Let's just imagine we're now super content or super happy, but we also want to be really, really rich.
Okay.
How do I do this, Joseph?
Zig Ziglar says, and I really buy into it, if you want to be rich really fast, then help a lot of rich people solve their problems. Find 10 problems that are all like 100,000, solve those 10 problems for 10 different people. If you can solve a $100,000 problem for them, they will easily give you $10,000 each, easily, maybe even more. And so if you could do that, you just instantly got $100,000. What if you solve $1 million problem for 10 different people? Now each person gives you 100,000, you just made $1 million. How to get rich fast is just solving problems for people that can afford it. And you know what? Maybe they can't afford it, but maybe the government can afford it. Maybe a corporation can afford it. But if you could tell your boss, I can help you increase your revenue and your profit by $10,000 a month, would I be able to get that $10,000 bonus a year? Most companies, if the equation works out, that should be very easy. It's so much easier to help your company make $10,000 more a month than it is for you to try to negotiate a $10,000 boost in your salary per year. You have to be able to identify these problems, to identify the value of these particular problems, and then gain the confidence and skill set to solve those problems.
Say goodbye to Ice Cube with the Re-Freezer fan.
But then beyond that, I think there's probably this thought that problems that are like $1 million problems have difficulty levels to match.
Do you think astronauts need to write on paper in space?
I don't know.
They need something to write. I mean, maybe they could take their iPhones out and type, but maybe they need to write as well. But without gravity, how can you use a pen to write on a paper? That must be very difficult. So you must have to invent this crazy expensive pen that could be able to write without the gravitational pull. But any elementary school kid would probably say, just use a pencil. There are massive problems with heavy consequences, and there are a lot of ways to solve them. You don't necessarily need the advanced degree and the know-how. And sometimes the more advanced you are, the more narrow you can think. And that's why I love immigrants, because at a very young age, they have to solve a lot of problems for their family. And so they have that can-do attitude. That's important to have.
Immigrants, we get the job done.
I've been using Duolingo for a while now because I used to have a really good command of Spanish.
La telefona. El teléfono.
I've also been using Duolingo for German, and I want to learn Korean. I have the goal of learning 7 languages in 7 years. How can I get to this goal in 7 years?
So this is something that I picked up from a lot of people overseas and the people that I live with. And one of the most beneficial part about learning a language is when you're able to attach story and experiences to your learning. So the traditional way, using these apps, having a tutor, going to classroom, it's very much rote memorization. It's very much like schoolwork notes, and it's just so hard to pick up any sort of learning. But if you're able to experience it, then you're able to retain it so much better. Now, the whole purpose of better is so that we're not saying something that's extreme. Like, of course, go live in Germany for 5 years, then you'll pick it up much easier, right? So is there a shortcut? Is there a way to get that experience, get that culture, get the things that you like without having to actually travel and live there? And so the shortcut that I see a lot of people do, people, for example, in Asia, they will have somebody who is an international student from the West live at their house. And so while they are there living and traveling and maybe going to school or work, the families there would be able to have this tutor, and vice versa. People here in the US, there's a lot of boarding schools, there's a lot of households that welcome international students and that they will cook for them and house the international students. But at the same time, now maybe you have somebody who's Japanese living in your house, and you can really understand the Japanese culture. That's such a good way to learn Japanese itself. So it's not just having a tutor, but you're actually experiencing culture. So that, I feel like, is a shortcut to actually living abroad. Like, help me, help you, help me, help you.
Why don't we go one topic at a time? So we'll start with the first one.
Sounds good.
What was that?
That everyone, even My dream life.
And that's it for season 1. That was 5 different episodes, right?
Yeah.
Covered 20 different topics. If you guys liked it, if there's something that you guys are thinking about, feel free to let us know. We'll prepare season 2 and then we'll do the same format, or if there's something else that you guys like.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.